Have you ever noticed how your priorities start to shift as you grow older? The things that once seemed crucial, like maintaining a wide social circle, might not feel as important anymore. And here's a thought that might surprise you. After 70, friendships may no longer be a necessity. That might sound unexpected at first, but when you take a step back, you'll see why embracing independence and prioritizing your well-being can be one of the most empowering choices you'll ever make. In this video, we're diving into 6 reasons why friendships become less essential in your later years. We'll explore how your mindset, personal freedom, and even your health can thrive when you stop feeling obligated to maintain relationships that no longer serve you. But let's be clear, this isn't about loneliness. It's about living life on your terms, without the unnecessary expectations and obligations that often come with social ties. Stick around until the end because you might just discover that releasing the pressure to maintain friendships isn't just freeing. It could completely reshape how you view yourself and your golden years. So, let's dive in. Reason number 1. You no longer need to prove yourself. One of the biggest reasons friendships lose their importance after 70 is that the need for social validation fades away. Think back to your younger years. How much of your time was spent trying to fit in, impress colleagues, or maintain a certain image? Whether it was keeping up appearances at work, staying connected with social circles, or making sure you were always in the loop, there was an unspoken pressure to be seen and accepted. But now, that pressure is gone. You've already built your legacy, and the opinions of others simply don't carry the same weight. At this stage in life, you understand something that younger people often struggle with. True. Fulfillment doesn't come from external approval. It comes from within. There's no need to chase friendships for status, reputation, or a sense of belonging. You are who you are, and you don't need anyone else to validate that. Take Harold, for example, a man in his early 70s who spent decades climbing the corporate ladder. Throughout his career, he was constantly surrounded by people, colleagues, acquaintances, so-called friends. But most of those relationships were built on convenience rather than genuine connection. The moment he retired, those friendships disappeared. At first, he felt compelled to keep in touch, to hold on to those relationships. But then it hit him. Why invest in friendships that only existed because of work? Why maintain connections that were never truly meaningful in the first place? Instead of clinging to old habits, Harold shifted his focus inward. He rekindled old passions, explored new interests, and, most importantly, stopped worrying about impressing others. No more forced small talk, no more social obligations, no more wondering whether people liked him or not. For the first time in years, he felt free. And that's the key. When you stop seeking validation from others, you realize just how much time and energy you wasted on friendships that didn't truly enrich your life. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone anymore. You don't have to meet anyone's expectations. The only person you need to answer to is you. Number 2. Peace becomes more valuable than socializing. As you grow older, something changes. Peace starts to feel far more valuable than constant socializing. In your younger years, being around people may have felt essential. The noise, the gatherings, the endless conversations. It all seemed like a necessary part of a fulfilling life. But over time, you begin to cherish something even greater. Stillness. And not just any stillness, but the kind that allows you to be completely at ease, free from unnecessary drama, obligations, and social fatigue. Even the best friendships come with a certain level of responsibility. There are calls to return, invitations to accept, and unspoken expectations to maintain contact. It's not that friendships are bad. It's just that at a certain point they start to feel like more effort than they're worth. The reality is, you don't have to keep up with others just because you feel obligated to. You don't have to be available simply because someone expects you to be. You've reached a stage in life where your time is your own, and you have every right to spend it however you choose. Take Margaret, for example. At 74, she once had a packed social calendar, lunches, group calls, holiday gatherings. For years, it felt normal. But then she started noticing something. These interactions weren't bringing her the same joy anymore. The conversations became repetitive, The same stories, the same complaints. Some friends only called to vent, while others seemed more interested in gossip than meaningful connection. Slowly, what once felt like companionship started feeling like a chore. One day, Margaret made a choice. She let go of the guilt. She stopped forcing herself to accept invitations that didn't excite her. She no longer felt pressured to respond to every message immediately. Instead, she embraced the quiet. The time she once spent maintaining friendships was now hers to enjoy. She took long walks, reconnected with nature, and finally started reading the books she had been putting off for years. And the most important realization: solitude wasn't lonely, it was liberating. That's the beauty of reaching this stage in life. You no longer have to fill your days with constant activity, just to feel connected. You can enjoy your own company, free from the need for external validation. You get to choose peace over pressure, calm over chaos. So, if you've ever felt guilty about stepping back from social obligations, remember this: you're not withdrawing from life. You're stepping into a new kind of fulfillment, the kind that comes from within. And that kind of peace, it only gets better with age. If you're still here and this message resonates with you, comment number 2 below to let me know you're watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Now, let's move forward. Number 3. Fewer friendships mean fewer disappointments. One of the toughest lessons in life is realizing that not everyone you call a friend is truly there for you. Over the years, you've likely experienced it: friends drifting away, people becoming distant when you needed them most, or relationships that turned out to be completely one-sided. By the time you reach 70, you start to understand something important. Having fewer friendships doesn't just mean fewer social obligations. It also means fewer disappointments. Friendships, no matter how strong, come with expectations. You're expected to check in, be available, and offer support. But what happens when those expectations aren't met? Disappointment. You reach out, but they don't call back. You make an effort, but they don't reciprocate. You find yourself giving more than you receive. And at this stage in life, do you really need that kind of stress? The answer is simple: no. Take William, for example. At 78, he's seen friendships come and go. Some ended naturally. Others faded because he realized he was always the one making the effort. He had people in his life for decades who suddenly became too busy, too distracted, or simply uninterested in maintaining a real connection. At first, it hurt. He wondered what he had done wrong, why certain people just seemed to forget about him. Then he had a realization. He wasn't the one who had changed. He had simply stopped tolerating one-sided friendships. That's the thing. When you stop feeling the need for a large circle of friends, you also let go of the stress and disappointments that come with it. You no longer feel frustrated when someone doesn't check in. You don't have to feel let down when a friendship fades. Instead, you focus on the most important person in your life, yourself. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean isolating yourself. It simply means choosing quality over quantity. Instead of maintaining a long list of acquaintances, you invest in the relationships that truly matter. Whether that's family, a lifelong friend, or even just a strong connection with yourself, those are the relationships worth keeping. So, if you've ever felt that friendships bring more stress than joy, remind yourself that it's okay to step back. It's okay to choose simplicity over complexity, peace over frustration. You don't need a long list of friends to feel fulfilled. You just need to let go of the ones who were never truly there in the first place. If you're still watching, comment number 3 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Now, let's move forward. Number 4. Your time becomes more precious. As you get older, you start to realize that time is your most valuable resource. When you were younger, it felt like there was always more of it. More time to spend with friends, more time to build social circles, more time to worry about who was in your life and who wasn't. But by the time you reach 70, your perspective shifts. You begin to see that every hour, every day, every moment is precious. And when you truly understand the value of your time, you naturally become more selective about how you spend it. Friendships, as fulfilling as they can be, also require time and effort, calls to make, visits to schedule, plans to keep. While some connections are worth maintaining, many are just habits we carry from the past, relationships we hold on to out of obligation rather than genuine enjoyment. At this stage in life, you have the right to ask yourself, is this how I want to spend my time? Does this friendship add to my happiness? Or is it just another task on my to-do list? Think about Richard, a man in his early 80s. He once had a packed social life, dinner parties, group outings, and endless phone calls. But over time, things changed. The long conversations that once felt enjoyable started feeling draining. The social gatherings that used to be exciting became obligations. One day, as he sat through yet another lunch filled with small talk and complaints, he had a realization. He didn't want to spend his time this way anymore. So he made a change. He stopped saying yes out of habit. He started saying no when he didn't feel like going out. Instead of spending hours catching up on gossip, he dedicated time to what truly brought him joy: reading, walking, learning new things, and simply enjoying his own company. And the surprising part, he didn't feel lonely. In fact, he felt more fulfilled than ever before because he was spending his time in ways that mattered to him, not in ways that others expected. That's the key. When you let go of unnecessary friendships, you gain something far more valuable. Time for yourself. 3 minutes to do the things you love. Time to enjoy life at your own pace. Time to focus on your own happiness instead of trying to meet the needs of others. So, if you ever find yourself questioning whether to keep up with certain friendships, ask yourself, is this the best use of my time? Because at this stage in life, you don't owe your time to anyone. You've earned the right to use it however you choose. If you're still watching, comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs and inspires you. Now, let's move forward. Number 5. True companionship comes from within. One of the biggest misconceptions about getting older is that you need a large circle of friends to be happy. But the truth is, the most important companionship you can have is the one you build with yourself. By the time you reach 70, you've spent decades learning, growing, and evolving. You know yourself better than anyone else ever could. And with that self-awareness comes an incredible realization. You are enough. For most of our lives, we're taught to seek companionship outside of ourselves. Society tells us that being social is the key to happiness, that loneliness is something to be feared. But there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Some of the happiest people in their later years are those who have embraced solitude, not as isolation, but as an opportunity for self-discovery, reflection, and peace. Take Eleanor, for example. She's 76 and used to believe that she needed to surround herself with people to feel fulfilled. She was always making plans, checking in on friends, and filling her days with activity. But over time, she noticed something. Despite being socially active, she often felt drained rather than uplifted. She realized that many of her friendships were based on routine, not genuine connection. Worse, she found herself constantly adjusting to fit into conversations, to keep up with social expectations, to avoid feeling left out. Then one day, she stopped. You no longer need external distractions to fill your time. You become your own source of joy, wisdom, and fulfillment. And the beauty of this? When you truly enjoy your own company, you attract relationships that are effortless. Instead of chasing friendships out of loneliness, you find that the right people naturally come into your life, people who respect your space, understand your values, and bring peace instead of pressure. So, if you've ever worried that letting go of friendships might leave you feeling alone, remember this: the best company you can ever have is already with you, and when you embrace that, you'll realize you were never truly alone in the first place. If you're still watching, comment number 5 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. She decided to spend time with herself the way she would with a dear friend. She took long walks without feeling the need to call anyone. She went to cafes with a book instead of making small talk. She spent quiet evenings reflecting on her life instead of maintaining friendships out of obligation. And to her surprise, she felt lighter, happier, and more at peace than she had in years. That's what many people don't realize. True companionship isn't about how many people you have around you. It's about how comfortable you are with yourself. When you stop relying on others for entertainment, validation, or conversation, you unlock a level of freedom that most people never experience. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs and inspires you. Now let's move forward. Number 6. Letting go opens the door to a more fulfilling life. One of the most powerful things you can do after 70 is let go. Let go of the pressure to maintain friendships that no longer bring joy. Let go of the idea that your social circle defines your worth. Let go of the belief that being alone means being lonely. Because the moment you release these expectations, you open the door to a life that is simpler, freer, and far more fulfilling. Many people hold on to friendships out of habit, even when those relationships no longer add value to their lives. They attend gatherings they don't enjoy, answer calls out of obligation, and keep up appearances just because it's what they've always done. But what if you didn't have to do any of that? What if you gave yourself permission to let go of friendships that felt like work and instead focused on the things that truly bring you happiness? Take James, a man in his late 70s who once believed that staying socially active was the key to aging well. He made an effort to keep in touch with old friends, even when those friendships had become distant or superficial. He filled his days with social obligations, thinking that staying busy meant staying fulfilled. But one day he realized something. He wasn't enjoying it. The conversations felt repetitive, the gatherings felt like routines, and deep down he felt more exhausted than connected. So he made a choice. He stopped forcing friendships that no longer felt meaningful. He started prioritizing what truly mattered to him. He spent more time outdoors, focused on his health, learned new things, and embraced the freedom that came with not having to meet anyone's expectations. And in doing so, he discovered something incredible. He felt lighter, happier, and more at peace than ever before. That's the thing about letting go. It doesn't mean closing yourself off from the world. It means creating space for what truly fulfills you. It means recognizing that your happiness isn't tied to how many people you have around you, but rather how aligned you are with the life you actually want to live. Here's what happens when you embrace this mindset. You stop worrying about who's in your life and start focusing on what brings you joy. You begin to appreciate the little things. Waking up to a quiet morning, enjoying a hobby without distraction, feeling at peace with your own thoughts. You realize that fulfillment doesn't come from maintaining friendships out of duty, but from living in a way that feels natural and meaningful to you. So, if you've ever felt like you should be doing more to maintain friendships, ask yourself this. Is it truly adding to my happiness, or am I holding on out of habit? Because once you give yourself permission to let go, you'll find that life becomes simpler, lighter, and more fulfilling in ways you never expected. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed. The idea that you don't need friends after 70 isn't about isolation. It's about freedom. It's about letting go of unnecessary obligations, choosing peace over pressure, and embracing the life you truly want to live. What stood out to you the most? Which of these reasons resonated with you the most? Maybe you've already started letting go of friendships that felt like more work than joy. Maybe you've noticed how much you enjoy your own company when you give yourself the chance. Or maybe this video gave you a new perspective on why it's okay to prioritize yourself. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating content to inform and inspire you. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a future video. If you're still watching and found these insights valuable, comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.